So space planning, interior forms. This is an image that I found of a house that was designed for passive. Ideally, the shape, as I mentioned, is 1 to 1.6. This particular house is 22 feet deep and 68 feet wide. And then there's a carport to the right-hand side. Now, there's also some retaining walls. You might notice the pattern that is to the top and the left-hand side. This house has been dug into the hillside to a certain degree, which actually helps a lot with insulation. And then the majority of the windows are to the south side. We have two bedrooms to the south. We have a dining area and our living room, and then a third bedroom off to the right-hand side that is also there. The dashed line around the perimeter is the roof overhang. So you see we have quite a large roof overhang over the south-facing windows. And then it changes at the corner where we've got a desk in that one bedroom because we don't have any south-facing windows right there. And so architecturally, there's something different happening. We do have some windows that are high up on the north side, again, because there's some dirt being retained on that side. And in general, the space planning for a passive solar house, one that's been designed this way, is it's ideal to locate things that produce heat on the north side. We see that there's a utility room towards the left. So on the north side, we have a bathroom, we have a utility room, we have the kitchen with the range. We do have a little seating area, and then we have another bathroom and kind of a mudroom between the carport and the other space. So a lot of those rooms are also referred to as service rooms. So locate rooms that require heat along the south face, which we've seen. So the spaces that are quote unquote habitable, right, from our building code requirement. So our bedrooms, our 3 bedrooms, our dining and living are all oriented towards the south. We put those on the south face. And then service spaces that can get away without having windows along our west or north face. And if we do want to have some daylight, we can possibly add skylights to the roof, especially if the roof is, it looks like this might be a single pitch for most of this roof. And so that means that we wouldn't get direct solar gain into any skylights that were happening because the roof is facing, tipped to be more north. Also, for ideal heating, the depth of the room should not be greater than 2.5 times the window height. So if the top of my window is 7 feet above the ground, 2.5 times that 7 feet is going to be 14 plus 3.5, so 17.5 feet of depth. And we notice that our total here is 22. That's how deep the sun will come in our winter months. And ideally with passive solar also, you're going to install distribution equipment to move heat to different areas of the house. So any fans or blowers that might need to happen so that, for example, heat that is coming into the bedrooms during the day can be shipped, if you will, into the bathrooms and hallways. The last slide that I have here is just a reminder, as I mentioned, about some of the interior design beyond the space planning, which of course is part of the interior as well, is considering the color and texture of interior surfaces. So dark colors are going to absorb light. Light colors are going to bounce light around. Things that have a lot of texture are going to tend to not reflect light as well. Also, very matte surfaces tend to not reflect light, whereas smooth surfaces and shiny surfaces do reflect light. So if you're trying to move light, and by light I also mean heat, around, these are things to keep in consideration. Also, a lot of modern houses tend to not have window coverings, and it's an interior design concept, especially if your overhangs are insufficient to shield from the sun. Provide window coverings at the south, east, and west that can help mitigate any unwanted thermal solar gain that might be happening. I also mentioned earlier in this lecture that people will put kind of a woven blinds on the exterior of their houses on the west side, and if you can stop the sun from even hitting the window assembly, it's more effective than trying to block it between the window and the rest of the house. If you think about the indirect solar gain, you might be creating a little heat pocket between the window itself and a thermal curtain, for example, which that heat has to go somewhere and it's probably going to stay in the house. So thanks for listening to yet another lecture in Introduction to Building Systems, and I enjoyed talking about passive solar design with you. See you next time.